done painting the walls. One of the cutest radiators. Miss Bjug, I'm currently on the camera phone. What's downstairs, Bjug? Wet cement. And what would you like to stick your paws in? Wet cement. So she's not happy that she has to be confined to this room. Let's have a little look. Hang on, I have to be careful not to let Bjug follow me. So now technically I can just jump and be in the kitchen. So that's fine. So let's have a little look. So we've got, actually I am gonna jump over. Oop. The last of this section getting leveled. I was saying in a previous video about, let me zoom you out. Previous video about the leveling of the floor. So there is 10 millimeters, slightly different. So yeah, this is the main dip of the house, and then it's higher here and higher here. But when I say that, it's only by millimeters, which to me, I'm like, what's a millimeter between friends? But when it comes to tiles and skilled trade people, a meter can be a lot. So what else is happening here? Yeah, it's messy once again, but I think this is going to be the last mess. There is radiators. So there is radiators. There is, I've just noticed some skirting has been taken off here. There's my washing machine. Oh yeah, over here. This was the last. Now my paintwork is okay because I literally finished that yesterday and that was the last video you saw. Also, I got some ceiling paint from Siobhan. So I don't know if I said it in the last video, but the plaster needs to be primed. And the guy in the paint shop, he said that don't worry about like fancy primers. He's like, if you have some old ceiling paint or white paint, you can use that as the primer on the fresh plaster. It's just to stop the plaster like sucking in your what you call it, paint, your proper color paint. Yeah, the plaster is ready to paint, so we're temporarily messy. The plumber is gonna come back, I think, tomorrow. They're waiting on my valves, so my radiators are here, and we can have a little look in the box if it's openable. World's tiniest nook, I said to the builder. If you saw this before when I moved the fridge, it was really dirty. It was really messy. So in here that's it. There's the plumbing for the washing machine. And there's just my little nook. So the floor, the tiles were removed and it has been levelled. And I don't know why I thought the pipes were coming up out of floor. So this thing here has pipe work in it, so that is good to know. So this, I think, houses the waste pipe for the washing machine, and then you have the two pipes there for water flow, I assume. So that is here. This is the rest of the kitchen, but this is the last mess. So let us see if like, the great thing is now, the washing machine, the fridge, that can all go back in, freed up space. Yeah. It's also just lovely, and this is the first time I'm seeing it here without any rubbish. So not rubbish, but like this table has been over here with the dust sheet and stuff on it and all my random tools and stuff. So yeah, it's nice to actually see the nook. I'm calling this the nook. So it's nice to see the nook, how it's going to be. What else? Oh, we have one step. So if you can see out here, we have a step. Also, the guys took away. So the plasterer had a box here. Not a box, a thingamajiggy mat. And it kind of damaged the grass there, but it's only been there for a week. So I reckon I can recover that and I'll put grass seed on this, which I should be able to do by the end of the week, because this is the final countdown. This is one step. I can't open, oh no, I can open this. I have to be careful. Oh, if my door swings, hang on. So here is, ooh, here's my step. I can't stand on this because there's wet cement underneath it. There will be 2 steps, but they have to, I don't know if you can see, the weather has been threatening, like a storm is brewing. So let me close the door, hang on. Now the radiator, you will see, what is this? I don't know, so I think it should be this one. So it looks old, but it's not old, if that makes sense. And then there's a smaller one. So this smaller radiator is going here. Let me see. So there is, oh, I think that's where it came from. But it was ordered through Lacey's. Yeah, so Lacey's it was ordered through. Now my builder ordered it, but it does have their address on it. So if you're looking for that style of radiator, so it's that kind of, what would you call that style? Old style? And my second light came today. So now, sorry, when I'm on my phone, I never know where to look. There's the thing. My second light came, so that means I can stick the lights up once I have painted. Now, I don't want to jinx it, and I've been fighting it all week because I thought it was just dust, and it's been a couple of days and it hasn't, like I don't think it's dust anymore, but I am feeling just a tiny bit under the weather. And I was out the weekend, and everyone around me is catching the autumn bugs. So I'm after just eating. It's like I feel it on my chest. But anyway, I am going to just edit a video today. I'm not going to paint. I can't really do anything today anyway. I have to let that plaster set. So I'm going to go upstairs. I can actually make tea. The last time I was plastered in the room, I couldn't go and make tea. So I'm going to make some tea, have some honey. I should have took some propolis from the hives. Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, but I am feeling a tiny bit under the weather. But I'm hoping a day on the bed with the laptop will bring me a new lease of life. Like I was out this morning and I went on my walk, but it was just when I came back, I was like, I feel a little bit fluey. I feel a little bit sweaty. So I'm hoping it's going to pass, because I felt like this since Monday. But today I'm like, oh, I don't think it's dust. I think I could have a little cold. But anyway, I've survived most of the renovation without getting sick. So, now look, here's Bjork, hang on. I knew she was going to do that. So Bjork obviously has the upstairs window to jump in and out. She's just not allowed in here. And what is she doing? I knew she'd do it. Bjork chooses destruction whenever she can. Last week she chewed me headphones. I just knew she was going to do that. It's my own fault. I should have closed the window. But I don't know if she's heavy enough. I think she's too light to imprint the cement. Oh, my builder said, don't stand on that. There's wet cement underneath it. If you need to walk out, put your leg over onto the wooden beam. And she's just gone and sat. Oh, Bjork, I can't let you in. Go upstairs. Oh, this breaks my heart because she's trying to get in there, but I can't let her in. I'm going to go upstairs and I'll call her from the window so she doesn't think I'm annoying or ignoring her. as I had feared, I did end up feeling proper under the weather. So a day and a half was needed under the duvet. There was going to be no wobbling up and down a ladder trying to paint things. So I had to just pause for a minute. So when I was feeling a bit better, I decided, okay, it is time to clean up. The builders had cleared out all of their bits, so I knew that the rubbish I could see, it was me. It was mine. It was all of my doing. So I decided to just tidy things away. And to know what I noticed? When the house is messy, it's easier to just be messy. I don't know if that makes sense. Usually I would put my tools away. So I would clean as I would go and I would put things away. But because, I don't know, it was just chaos the past kind of few weeks, I was just putting things down wherever. So it was time to clean everything away and also just try and get on top of the dust. The installation of the radiators was the last messy job for a good while anyway. So it is safe for me to clean up and have a good sweep and try and get some of the dust up before I tackle the painting. Thank you so much for all of your tips when it comes to just the project in general, keeping on top of dust being a cheerleader in my corner, especially all the lovely comments on the last couple of renovation videos. Thank you for trusting me with the process, because some videos there's going to be big wows and then some videos and we are really just going to be in the trenches with doing these tedious little jobs and cleanups, but all of these steps will get us to the end. When that is, I do not know. Later on in the video I'm going to be chatting a little bit about the flooring and the dilemma that I'm currently facing with it. So yes, thank you for sticking with me, and especially with all these like tedious jobs that I hope are entertaining to look at, or at least satisfying. I know some of you guys love a good satisfying cleanup, so I hope this helps. When it comes to the dust and trying to get it up on the floor, I have been sweeping a lot of it up, but what happens then is it kind of brings the dust into the air. My good hoover would not be able to, its filter will be clogged if I even attempted to try and hoover like you normally would. So I've been sweeping and using the industrial like shop vac style hoover that I have. I usually clean the greenhouse with that, but for some reason I have lost the kind of hoover attachment for the floor. I don't know where it is. It could be gone. So I've been sweeping and then just hoovering it up, but one day my house will be dust free. Oh my God, the sunshine. I'm going to hold my mic a bit closer in case there's a bit of an echo, but the sunshine, this is why I did what I did. So when I walk in, like this is now granted, it is blue sky. It's autumnal though. So this is the sunshine. It is, what time is it? 10 past 11 on my phone, 10 past 11. And I'll have this kind of sunshine, here's Bon, until the afternoon, and then even longer in summer. Now, time for our progress check-in. So, still looking like a building site, but I think we're getting a bit closer. So you would have seen I did a bit of a clean up in here because I'm getting ready for painting, which I have gone to the paint shop. Oh, of course, Bon has a water fountain. Let me see if I can zoom in. And he's drinking from the puddle. Of course he is. He has a filtered water fountain that I spent money on, and he's decided to drink from the puddle. Anyway, okay, where did I finish off? Okay, the floor is now levelled. The stuff has gone down here. So this nook area, I still haven't taken off the broken thing. I am going to be painting, so I will take that off because there's the new light fitting to go in. So this floor is levelled, and the cutest little radiator. How adorable is this? So here is one of the radiators, and I will chat in a minute about heating and underfloor heating and explaining why I didn't go for that option. So here is one of the cutest radiators, gives off some heat, and then I have a bigger one over here, and plumber calculated the room size and all of that and said these two are perfect. So I did go a bit extra and I got fancy knobs. Of course I got some fancy knobs. And do you know what's like, the rest of my house has really old radiators, so like 1990s one type of radiator. So it's just this room that has pretty looking radiators. So I went for the ones that look like old, but they're not. I was saying in the last video that my builder was saying like cast iron radiators, like if you get them from the salvage yard, while they're like really pretty and great if you're putting it into like an old Victorian house, there can be a lot of work in installing them and also refurbishing them as well. So same over here. This one is slightly longer. They are doubles. Also, this is totally random, but I was wondering, because there was pipes, and I was like, oh, how will they hide the pipes if it's a concrete wall? But he just drilled into it a bit, and then the pipe is attached there. And I'm like, good job I've seen this, because like if you were putting your skirting board back on and you used a nail gun, you could very easily puncture into that. So I'm like, okay, that's good to know that the pipe is running there. So that pipe runs down that wall. So it comes down here. It actually comes from, I think, the upstairs. And then they ran the pipe down that casing, and then it comes in here. And the plumber you probably saw I have washing the clothes horses. I'll see if I can zoom. Hang on. Yes, the clothes horse is horsing. So, yeah, my builders aren't back today. So I was like, will you put my washing machine in so I can do some washing? He's like, of course. He also showed me, because behind here I had two cables, and he was saying that one is for hot and one is for cold, because back in the day you used to have to, well, here anyway, you used to have to use the hot tap to heat your washing machine, and it would take all the hot water out of your tank. But he's like, the washing machines nowadays don't need that. They just need the cold, and then they do it all themselves. So this is the lovely sunshine. Everything is all dry, ready to paint, and it's not as messy as it was, because any of the mess that was there was mine. The builders have taken like all of theirs. So they just have to come back and finish. Let me see. Ah, yes, the step. So we had a storm the weekend, So the step is, there's one step and they have to come back and do the second. And then the garden is, you'll see lots of leaves are after being blown because of the storm. But it's absolutely stunning now. It's like, what storm? Now let us talk about underfloor heating, just for anybody who is doing work in the house. And there was a couple of questions about underfloor heating. Some of you may already know this, but to install underfloor heating into a new build is not a massive job or cost. So that's why a lot of new builds will have underfloor heating. However, you have probably heard that to install underfloor heating into an existing house that's already built is a massive financial cost. So just for example, you have to rip up all of your flooring and then your builder has to come in and, as far as I know, dig out the flooring. So I was chatting to the plumber who was sticking in the radiators and he was saying like it could be anywhere just from your builder's costs, like 20, 25, 30 grand in prep work. And then he's like, that doesn't include my cost, what I would charge to then come in and plumb that. So to me, it was never an option. I knew it was crazy prices, but I didn't realise how expensive it would be. So no, that is why I didn't go for underfloor heating. But it was never on my list, if that makes any sense, because my house is, to me, underfloor heating, I mean, it would be nice if it was there, but I don't know. I've never known it. I was in a house once with underfloor heating, like an Airbnb, and I was like, oh, why is my feet warm? And then I copped what was happening, and I was like, oh. Now the builder did say, he's like, they are great, or the plumber, he's like, you have a constant stream of temperature, you don't have spikes. So like here you put your heating on for an hour or two or whatever in the evening and then the house gets cold. He says with the underfloor heating your house maintains a consistent heat level so you don't have those spikes. But if you're like me, your body has acclimatized to those high and low points. So yeah, I've always had a rad. And I asked the plumber, I says, what do you do with your socks? How do you put them on the radiator? And he says they still dry. But because I was like, did you just throw their socks on the floor and let them dry? He says that they still put clothes on a clothes horse, but just just leave it anywhere because the heat from the floor does dry out whatever's on the clothes horse. So if you bring things in, if you don't have a dryer or whatever, that's what he was saying they did. Because I was like, where'd you dry your socks and your boxers and all of that? Like, you put them on the rad to heat them up. And he says, no, you put them on the clothes horse and stick it on the floor. So to install, you can look it up yourself. It's going to be different depending on the area that you're in. I'm just giving you a ballpark price for what he was saying. It could be here. It could be more than that. So to install underfloor heating into an existing home, you have to rip up all of your flooring and you have to dig out the floor as well to lay it. Then you concrete over it and then you put whatever on top. I don't know how it's installed, but massive, like it would have cost me more than what I've spent on the project just to have warm feet. So I will just put socks and slippers on. Thank you very much. I'd love to know if anyone actually has done that. Was there like different alternatives, or has anyone ever installed it into an existing home and was the price colossal? I know a few people might be thinking, well, your floor was up anyway, but even the cost of just doing it in one section, a lot of people will just do it for like the whole house. So yeah, it was never on my wish list. I feel like underfloor heating is like a relatively newish thing. I feel like I don't know anybody who has it unless they're in a new build. And a lot of my friends would have houses like mine that were built older. Yeah. Anyway, Bon is attentively listening to me. Bioga's up having a sleep. She's recovered from... do you know what? This project has been a great bit of socialising for Biog. She's certainly come out of her shell. And Bon is the social butterfly. Now, I went around. Oh, that's nice and heavy, which means there's a fair amount in it. So I was chatting to the guy in the paint shop. So when you have brand new plaster, before you paint over it, it is recommended to prime it. And do you know what? I'm at the stage where I'm like, okay, not scrimping. Well, no, I am scrimping with the pennies. I am. And I'll talk about the floor in a minute. But I asked the guy, what can I use to prime the fresh plaster? And he said, if you have any old white emulsion, he said, once it's not gone off, he's like, if you have white paint or white ceiling paint. So I texted Siobhan and I was like, someone has to have some. I really don't want to go out and buy stuff. So I texted Siobhan and she was like, yeah, I have ceiling paint in the shed and it's only from a couple of months ago. So I went around and I collected this. So I'm going to do a coat of white ceiling paint to prime the plaster. And it's not too bad because I've like this new section here, all along here, around the door frame. Yeah, like it's not too bad. And then just like sections here. So I reckon I could do that with a little roller and it won't take me too long. And then tomorrow I'm after getting myself 12-inch rollers. I have my pole and stuff from when I did the, hallway. Remember I did that earlier in the year and it was really, really tall. And then I have 10 litres and I'm going to be doing the ceiling and the walls all in the one colour. And then I'm excited because once I do the ceiling and paint, I have 2 lovely lights to go up. Bon is sitting on one of them. So yeah, I am so excited to paint because I think when I paint, and especially with the warm colour that I've chosen, and the sun coming in, it's going to look so nice. Now, on the subject of flooring, I made a bit of a boob. So yesterday, first of all, I was feeling under the weather. I edited that video, sat on the couch and I was like, right, I need to start organising the floor. And I'm struggling to find, well, when I say I'm struggling, I've only, like 2 people have declined me. Like I haven't asked see, this is what happens when you get kind of tired halfway through a project. Things catastrophize and they seem so much bigger in your head than in reality. So I'm going to explain this in the hope that if you're going through the same thing, it's, you know, first of all, it's not the end of the world. But I want to explain how my brain was working so that if you do the same thing and spiral and catastrophize, it's okay. You're just tired. You just need a nap. So I wasn't feeling great over the weekend, just had like a bit of a cold. There is a particular pub I do go to. And every winter when I go to this pub, within a few days, I end up getting some sort of cold or sniffle. And I call it, my niece calls it the dirty pub. But the pub I have in my brain, I'm like, that is a dirty pub. Because every time I go there, I catch a sniffle in winter. Anyway, this is why you should always double check your maths and get someone else to double check your maths. So if you saw the videos back in summertime, I went to loads of different flooring places, got completely overwhelmed. But I had made a mental decision on the flooring back in like September. So when the work began, I had a couple of samples on the thing. Quickly, one of them was ruled out. I was down between 2 and they were like my 2 yeses. So I was leaving. I have not ordered the floor as of today and I'm starting to panic. But I'm after having a grounding talk with myself and I'm like, it's not the end of the world because I have concrete on the floor. Gradually, day by day, as I sweep it, the dust is coming up. It's not the end of the world. The doors and window is in. The biggest part of the project is done. Heck, I don't even have a backsplash. But anyway, I was like, right, while I'm sitting on the couch and I'm not feeling too great, I'll distract myself and I will calculate the floor. When you're looking at flooring, they usually have calculators on the specific website. So you input like the length, the width, it calculates the area, the square meter, and then you can see how many boxes that you need to order. So I obviously have a budget for the floor. And as I'm coming to the end of like finishing up with the builders, paying them, like paying my last bill with them and any other costs, I'm like, okay, this is how much I have left for the floor. So I miscalculated my floor by double. So I drew up a little map with all the measurements on it, and I got 45 meters squared. And I was like, that don't sound right, but I wasn't feeling well, so I was like, okay, 45 meters squares. Inputted it into how many boxes I would need. The flooring was like double what I had, added up. And I was like, oh no, I've massively miscalculated. But then I was like, no, hang on a minute. So I sent the diagram that I had made with all my calculations on it. Sorry, a cat is after coming in, that's not mine. The black one with the white feet that you would have saw, I think, in last week's video, he was at the window. Anyway, I sent my maths to a friend who maths is their job. Well, maths is part of their job. And I says, can you calculate the area, the meter squared area of this for me, please? Of the hallway and of the kitchen. And they came back and said, 24 meters squared. And I was like, okay. And then I also put the mathematical equation and diagram into the robot, and the robot came back with 24. Now, because I had the same problem when I was ordering the carpet for the stairs, and I went into the shop and I ordered it in person, and I'm going to order my flooring in person as well, and I'm going to bring in my measurements for them to double check it. But just from like a planning point of view, I just needed to know. So then I was like, okay, 24 square meters is the amount of flooring I need to get. Obviously you have like 10% then for wastage, and I inputted that into the thing, and my flooring was half the price because obviously half the size. So where am I going with that? Don't panic. Because literally for about half an hour I was like, oh my god, I've miscalculated the flooring budget. I am like double what I have planned. I don't know if I have that left in the budget. Now another thing that I have ran into a problem-ish with the floor is the floor that I want. It says on the website a 1 to 6 week wait time, and I didn't order my floor because I hadn't made a final decision, and now I feel ready to order. But now the problem I have is, it's not a big problem, but 2 tilers have said no because of the intricate design of it. So like if I was just putting down large slabs, let's say, they'd probably do the floor in a day. But because there is some intricacies to the floor that I want, 2 of them have said like no. And even the plumber who was here the other day, he's like, I'll ask my tiler, because I do bathrooms, so I have a tiler that I use. I'll send him a picture and see what he says. And the tiler looked at his phone 10 minutes later and was like, yeah, he said no. And I was like, shit. So I'm like, that's right, 2 people have said no, no big deal. So now what I think I need to do is I need to message some tilers, which is what I'm going to do today, with pictures, my diagram, the floor that I want, if they're interested, what's their schedule and availability like. I'm going to ask my builder as well. And again, my builder, this wasn't in their job spec to tile the floor because I didn't want to be rushed with the floor. So I didn't want my builder to be like, okay, your floor, we're ready to lay it. And I'd have to pick something then that I'd be panicking, because the doors and the floors, I've said it in like previous videos, they're the 2 main things with this project. So I'm going to ask my builder when he's back, because they did ask me, have you got someone for the floor? And I was saying about like the intricate kind of thing that I want, and they're like, yeah, you might find it hard to get someone to do that, and if they do, they're going to charge you more. So I'm mentally prepared for that. But I think I freaked out the other day when I miscalculated the floor, and then that ended up being double. And then I was like, oh no, someone's going to charge me more. Now I'm absolutely willing to pay more because like for the person installing it, because it is going to be a longer job. So now I need to go and get quotes. And then, because I'm like, what if I order this floor and it's sitting in the kitchen in boxes and the grout and everything, but I can't get someone to come in and install it. But I'm sure I'm just catastrophizing. Like, I will. I mean, there's 5 million people in Ireland. Surely one of them will tile the floor how I want it. So I'm trying to just be, you know. And then I was like, I think I was panicking because I was like, what if I don't have a floor for Christmas? And I'm like, so what? Your friends and family are not coming over to see your floor. They're coming over to see you. They're not going to give two shits if you have a concrete floor. They'll just be like, oh, it's another one of her things she's doing. They're not going to care. So I think, yeah, sometimes we get these, sometimes our inner thoughts can be our worst enemies. So yeah, I was feeling under the weather the weekend, had a miscalculation, had a minor mental breakdown, and then I calmed myself down because I was like, this isn't the end of the world. This is fun. This is the challenges that you bump into along the way. And I will find someone to install the floor. And yeah, like, it will be totally fine. So yeah, I think I was just feeling overwhelmed the weekend. But that's where I'm at with the floor. There may be a month in gap in between. I might just pop up on December and be like, I finally have a floor, or it could be January. We're in it for the long haul. And another thing, coming into a bit of a barrier with the floor made me realise, because I did be like, right, if I have to get a different floor that's simpler, what will I go for? And I was like, but I would be settling. I don't want to go the safe route. So I did have a little look, and because I had some plan Bs, and I was looking at the plan Bs being like, I'm just convincing myself to please other people, to please a floor installer because it's the easiest option for them to install. No, I would be looking at the floor going, I just settled for this because someone was complaining about installing it. Like, I'm willing to pay, so like, this is the last of the budget be going on this. And also, the longer I'm without a floor, the more I can squirrel aside, the more I can just save for someone to do it proper. So I'm gonna message floor people, and yeah, don't worry if you run into these hiccups, because at the end of the day, who are we pleasing? We're pleasing ourselves. We're pleasing ourselves. And if people are like, where's your floor? She'll be like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where the floor is. But for now, I can live with this floor. It's going to be full of paint splatter in a minute. But anyway, sorry for waffling, but I just thought I would share my mini crash out with you. And it's not the end of the world. And in a couple of months' time, I'll look back and you'll be like, do you remember when you were sweating over the floor? And look, it's not worth it. I need to start priming. Now, I will not tell any lies, but painting walls is the least favourite job ever. I actually think I would prefer to scrape the adhesive off the backsplash again. Remember that video I was giving out then? But I think I would rather do that than paint the walls. So I am mentally preparing myself for the big paint job that is coming. So I'm using that old ceiling paint to prime the plaster, and oh my god, is that fresh plaster drinking it up. I was actually a bit worried that I didn't have enough paint in the pot to do it. Definitely, if this whole room was fresh plaster, you'd need probably, like, I don't know, 10 litres, because it was drinking it up. It took me about an hour and a half, which doesn't sound that long, but maybe because it was just up high, it just felt really, really tedious. Now, I do have my extendy poles and larger rollers for when I do go to paint this whole room. But because I was just putting on some primer, I just used an old paint tray that I had and there was just a 9-inch roller to hand, which was handy. So I'm using the brush and the roller. The brush, I feel like you can get more product, you can get more paint on the wall with the brush and, you know, cutting in, but then I just smoothed it out with the roller. So I wasn't trying to be too perfect, because like that, I'll give it a little sand before painting and then I will stick on the top coat. And I'm just priming the areas that has the brand new plaster on them. I'm not going to be priming like the whole room. So it's just the areas that has the plaster on it. And straight away when you see the paint going on, the white paint, and it's killing off all of that grey, which I cannot wait. So I have a lovely warm colour to warm up this room. So when you walk in and it's sunny with the warm colour, I'm hoping that it's just lovely and just feels cozy. And I wanted to talk about motivation, because there was a few comments on a recent video about how much I get done in a video and where do I get the motivation. So I don't have the motivation to begin with. It comes from a place of necessity. So when you're the only person in the house, you kind of, I don't know, you don't have anyone to fall back on. Don't get me wrong, if I really needed help, I have friends and family who would help me, but I don't know, it's a place of necessity. So I was cursing doing jobs like this. The whole time I was getting irritable. So please don't compare yourself to one of my YouTube videos. A lot of the time I kind of do things around other work, so I'll only have a certain amount of time to do something. So I can't be like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow, because I may be working and then I have, you know, the weekly upload schedules. So my motivation comes from, you know what, I just begin a task, curse my way through it, then feel great when it's done. A lot of the time I don't mind it. Like I just do it. But my least favorite thing is painting walls. And I don't know, I'm gonna have to bribe myself to do that one. But yeah, I did see a phrase, I'm gonna butcher it, but it was basically like, don't wait to be motivated, just begin and set yourself, maybe it's like 10 minutes to like of doing something, because it's like 10 minutes is better than like doing nothing. And actually when I was setting out to prime this plaster, I was like, you know what, even if I just do half of it and I'll do the other half in the morning. But I ended up finishing it. So sometimes when you just begin something, you end up kind of just following through. So that is my pep talk for motivation. 90% of the time I am not motivated. I'll just begin and then it kind of comes. I'll build up momentum. And yeah, that is my note on motivation. Please don't compare yourself to me. I'm not always like this. This is just in the video. And then I will have a nap with Björn Bon. Now already, even with just painting the beam and any area, that had exposed plaster, unprimed plaster ready to go. Even just painting it white makes the room, I don't know, look cleaner. So even back here, I'm on my other camera where sometimes the image stabilization. So I think I've gotten all areas. This little area here, I just didn't paint where tile is going to go. All up here, this was absolutely tedious. Not gonna lie, I hated every minute of this. And now I'm dreading painting. because we have to drench this room. So over here, apologies about shaky camera. Yeah, so I just primed. Some of that is just grey paint. So I just primed because I didn't know if I was going to have enough of the ceiling paint to prime it. So yeah, it is all painted, and Bon is back to keep me company painting the beam. Not as fun as I thought. I went in with a mixture. Hang on. I did some with the brush, some with the roller. I think it was just tedious to paint because it was its first coat, so it was just like drinking it up. I also, look, I'm the same colour as you, Bon. Look, I painted my hair, see? I painted my hair. Hello. Oh, Bon's like, when you finish so we can have a cuddle. He's looking for a laps to sit on. Yes. When I am painting the ceiling, wall, everything in the next video, I do have my extendable pole. I'm after getting 12-inch rollers, and I'm hoping it is going to be tedious. I'm mentally preparing myself for how tedious it's going to be, but I'm going to use the big extendy pole, and I'm going to cover everything. So I'm going to sheet up the doors, the window, throw a sheet over thingies, because yeah, I'm going to be doing the ceiling and paint will be going over it. Now what I will say is, if you use a microfiber roller sleeve, it's not, you don't get as much paint splatter as the cheaper rollers. Just a little tip, we do get some. So yeah, in the next video we are going to do the colour drenching, and there's so much to paint and I'm dreading it. But because of the floor situation, I am not spending on a painter because it seems frivolous, because I think we're gonna have to spend that money for the floor contractor. So there we are. I'm gonna let that dry. And then, oh, I'm dreading painting the walls. I'm dreading painting the wall. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for sticking with me. Trust the process. Cheeky thumbs up. Give me all the hypes. I'll see you in the next one.